Welcome to the future.
Voice is clown.
Not clown. Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You unlock this door with the...
What up, YouTube? Welcome to episode 178 of Two Fat Guys Pool List. That is right. And John already in here with the super chat. Lots of great stuff this week. But if I had to have a top three, it would be the One Hand finale, Spectrograph, and surprisingly, Venomverse Reborn. Interesting. Let's talk about some business, and we'll get to the show. Nate is under a paywall at the moment. So if you're not subbed, you can't see his face. I'm just kidding. But if you do want to become a member, go ahead and hit that. Just become a member for the price of one comic a month. Just saying. No, I'm just kidding. Don't feel any pressure. Anyway, let's talk about some nice stash, bro. Thanks, bro. Let's talk about some business. First of all, we got to talk about our show's sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. It's a great comic book store that me and Nate, that's our home. It's our home base here in the DFW area where we get our comics. We get everything from back issues, new comics, collected editions, omnibus, action figures, models, dice, D&D games, card games, board games, snacks.
Plushies.
That's right, plushies, Nate. That's right, plushies. All kinds of cool stuff there. They can. Can you hear me?
I can hear everything. My camera won't turn on.
Okay, well, it's all right. We'll wait here. Anyway, if you're in the DFW area, would love you to check them out. They got 3 locations: one in Fort Worth, one in Hearst, and one in Irving. If you're not in the DFW area and you still want to check them out, you can always go to staycollected.com, where they got all that fun stuff I just talked about and more on their website. So go check out staycollected.com. Give them a shout out. Tell them Two Fat Guys Pool sent you.
Hey, listen!
That was the wrong button. Anyway, but do listen. We also are in the middle of a sub goal giveaway. That's right. We're trying to hit 1,250 subscribers, but we can't do it without your support. So if you're not subbed, make sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and give us a like, because we are giving away this Uncanny X-Men #1 CGC grade 9.8 signed by Jim Chung, the artist of the cover right here. So we'll be giving this away when we hit 1,250 subscribers. But we can't do it without your support, so please make sure to hit that sub button. Also, when we hit 2,000 subs, we have other slabs we're giving away along the road to 2,000. But when we hit 2,000, we're giving away this Thor #1 Nick Klein sketch variant signed by the great one, Donny Cates. So it benefits you greatly when you hit that sub button. So please make sure to hit that sub button. All right, well, that's going to do it for the business. Nate is still having some trouble with his camera, so we'll just check out chat here really quick while Nate works on his technical difficulties. So yeah, Joe compliments my sash, and he says, my patois is Ultimate Spider-Man, even though I have a few complaints. That just shows it's that good, even though it's not perfect. Interesting. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about that, Joe. I liked it for sure. This week was kind of a blur, outside of one book, and I think we all know what book that is. But overall, I had a good week. I will say DC. I'm just gonna get it out. DC was flat as F, in my opinion. Nate, I'm sure you have thoughts. It didn't speak to me. But we'll get there. We'll talk about all your books because it's front heavy Nate show.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
Run through it quick and or jump.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that wasn't able to get to. That are
Okay, it's all good. Patty says, "Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well or doing great. Thank you, Patty. I'm glad you're here."
Mhm.
John also said, "Joe, Ultimate Spider-Man and She-Hulk are always a win. 100%. I agree with that statement.
Always big dubs.
Always dibs. All right, let's get it going. First up, we have from Boom Studios, House of Slaughter, issue number 24, The Butcher's War, Part 4.
Yes, this was very nice. So this is, every time we talk about this, I keep saying like this has been the best run of this so far, but it really has. Like this arc has been great. And trying to just so I make sure. Yes. So what's kind of interesting too is that Fuso, the artist on this book, has been, I don't know if this is intentional or if it's I'm reading too much into it, but I'm literally seeing like his style is kind of blotchy and inky and like really bold lines, and so much to where they almost feel like they're like the ink is like spreading, like he just like held the pen down, you know what I mean? And it feels like as this art goes on, that's happening more, almost like the memory of the person telling us the story is becoming foggy, or like our perception of what's happening is becoming foggy.
Okay.
So that's been really interesting. We kind of see some interesting movement in here. So like one of the things that we've seen in the past is Butcher, Jace, like seeing the people in his life that are dead that he cares about, his family, Aaron, and he clearly thinks they're aberrations. Like he doesn't think they're real. And this guy that he's been fighting, that he started fighting in the last issue, who's one of the Black Masks from the actual Louisiana house. These people appear to Jace, and then he gets freaked out. He's like, "Oh fuck, what did you do? Like, what? No, don't do this!" And like, it's like Aaron with like his face all chewed off, and like his mom with the bullet hole in her head, and like
Jesus,
he sees them, and they start attacking him to protect Jace. And we have not seen anything like that before at all. And it's literally like he's using his totem for that stores his monster as like an assault. It's I don't know. It's very cool. But meanwhile, the whole point of all this is that he's trying to save the kids, right? There's that one boy that got away. Not only is he trying to get revenge, obviously, on the two houses, but he's also, trying to save the kids. That's his whole thing. And the kids are with the Maven out in the Everglades almost, or like out in the swamps. And that crazy redheaded girl that he got trained with, that came up with, the one that initially took the boy, has led a whole strike team. They weren't supposed to go out there. She like went AWOL. It went totally against even her own dragon, and is out there to go get the kids. And we don't know if get the kids means kill the kids or what.
Or get the kids.
Yeah, she killed, the Maven. Also, turns out she has a killer power. Too bad she's dead. But her power literally, she has these crows that are always around her. And she literally takes the crows and rips them in half. Like rips their head and half their bodies off. And she took the bottom half of the bodies and just throws them, and they turn into monsters. Like the monsters spawn out of the dead corpses of the crows. Wicked. Like it was so cool.
Wicked.
I don't know. This team should be the one on the book all the time. I'm going to say it every single time. Going to be really sad when you got one more issue, and then we're going to do our little break, and then if it's not them on the book, you're going to have sad times.
Well, it's you're due for a slump, right? Because it's like up and down every arc. So.
Yeah, I guess, but like, man,
I mean, that's been the track record. So
yeah, it's been great, and it feels like the creative team is not just firing on all cylinders, but like having fun with it. Like I feel like obviously like, some of these things are really heavy things. Like we're talking about the possible death of children. We're seeing corpses of families. Like it's no joke, but at the same time, like I don't know, ripping birds in half and throwing them as monsters is having fun. So.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a great time. Back to chat. Ultimate Spider-Man was definitely a winner this week. And then Patty says he's dealing with a 10-year-old today, or entertaining a 10-year-old, whole new territory.
Ooh.
Good luck.
You got
I
it.
don't know.
You got it.
Yeah, you're fine, dude. They're not, they're not like 2 or 5 or 3. That's what I have. Anyway, Holden, sorry, says, howdy, HOS was great. Makes sense that Aaron was real. If there were fragments of Jace's mind, he wouldn't have appeared so mutilated.
Wait, makes sense that Aaron was real. Exactly. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because he never saw what Aaron looked like mutilated. That happened with Erica at the school, however long ago it was in that city, and Jace was nowhere near that. So that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Joe says this chat should be called Comic Dads. I'm potty training my 3-year-old, and I'm glad I have hardwood floors. Hardwood floors or tiled floors. That is key right there. I think it was Spider-Man or Batman, Jaden said. Interesting. Batman. Very interesting. I'm very interested to see what our chat has to say about DC this week, because I don't know if I'm conflicted. I think I may have a hot sports opinion. If that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, it's the same opinion I have every week about DC, but we'll get there. All right, next up we have Helen of Windhorn, issue number 3. How was this?
Okay, so
See, wait, hold on. Oh, okay. I was gonna say either what you just said. I'm like, either it's his pick of the week, or it was just sad.
Go ahead.
Hey, it was pick of the week.
Pick of the week.
Yeah, so I honestly want to say though, it was really close. Like, it was a 1, 2, 3. Three-way tie, honestly.
Three-way patois, huh?
I mean, this one does edge the others out just a touch, but it's just because this hits like a fine niche.
Okay.
So like the first 2 issues of this were, what I really loved about it is how period piece it felt. Like, it was representing its period piece really well. Like Tom King's, this is like where he shines with his extremely purple prose, where he just wants to fucking go on and on. But it works. It works so well. Like,
unlike Wonder Woman.
Yeah. But it flowed really well. And but the first 2 issues were really set up, right? Like, the first issue was us seeing our main character where she was before the nanny got a hold of her. That was, I don't remember. She's not technically whatever. And then them kind of setting up in the house, waiting for her grandfather to appear. And then the second issue was her grandfather appearing out of nowhere to fight this big monster, but then him not talking about anything and not even really interacting with them hardly at all. And like the questions piling up, but no answers. And now here we are with this issue, and we get answers and like a whole pile more of questions, but we really get to see the action. This is an issue where, like, if they had charged me like $6 for this, I'm like, that's all right. Like, I felt like
okay, all right.
It pushed the plot forward so much, but it also like kept you engaged. But it also just like made you still finished it after it was all done. It took me almost 30 minutes to read this comic, and I was like, nah, I still want more. Like, I still
nice.
know what I'm doing. So basically, they find this like creature. To me, it reminded me of Eevee, like the Pokemon Eevee, like a little fox-like thing.
All right.
And he's like, "Oh, she wandered down from Mount. Who cares? Whatever. We got to go return her or something."
We know.
And so he leads her into the forest that surrounds their estate, and they all of a sudden come across this like old crone with like nasty green teeth who's hunched over with a cane, and she calls him Othin, which is the name of the character that her dad wrote, the one that's she's starting to realize is probably based on her grandfather and all of his escapades and how great of an adventurer he is. You would love this. He literally rips a tooth out of his mouth to give to her as payment to go through her door. Once they go through the door, they're totally in a new world. And in this world, we get to see them go through all kinds of adventures, bar fights, her getting super wasted on mead because she's never had it before, and we get to kind of see the peculiarity of the grandfather as a character, and the dude's just kind of weird. And we're still not 100% sure like what all went on there. Like at one point, she's heard from her dad's books about this, like the woman on the mountain, and like, she's this divine thing, like she's literally a god. And they walk up there, and he's like, literally, we just walked all this. I mean, it's like a week. I mean, they went all this way just to give her the little fox thing. And as soon as she puts it on the ground, it starts running away again. And she's like, yeah, they'll just do what they want. And she's like, wait, did all this for this? And the woman was like, or the grandfather basically says like, oh yeah, like this is, I can't remember her name. It's so irritating. This is blah, blah, blah. She was the mother of your father, and it's time to go. She's like, wait a minute, that's my grandmother? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, but we have to leave right away. It's super dangerous for you. And she's like, wait, you can't just tell me this is my grandmother, and then now we gotta go.
Yeah,
So
just
he's like,
fucking
yeah, you'll
bounce.
die.
Yeah.
And then she's like, literally, like the grandma, who's this like literal ethereal god, like doesn't look like grandma. It's like, yeah, you'll die if you stay. You need to go, but don't worry, you'll figure it all out.
Jesus.
And Helen's just literally like, what? And then she comes back and tells her nanny the story. So the whole, if you don't remember, the whole way the story is being told, it's kind of like Inception like. So it's being told technically from the perspective of the boyfriend of a man who wrote a book about Helen's dad. Now the main story is the recordings of the nanny who watched after Helen, that was recorded by the man who wrote the book about her dad. And I know it's really hard to explain, but it totally makes sense.
So there's a
And
runner
so
on
we're
first.
being- Huh?
So there's a runner on first.
Yeah.
You know that joke, right?
I don't.
Oh damn. Whoop. Okay, keep going.
So yeah, so we're literally getting told multiple stories at once. We see the perspective of the guy writing, and he's telling this old woman who's now recounting these stories from 60 plus years ago. And it's like, lady, you're crazy. You're trying to fuck with me? Like, I'm trying to write a book about this man, this author, and his daughter, and like they died and disappeared. We don't know what happened to them. And like, I'm trying to write a biography on him, and you're telling me like adventure stories from like Lord of the Rings? Like, what? Come on, like, what are we doing? But those are being being shown to us by the tapes of his boyfriend, who it's now in the future. He's old. The guy that did the recordings is dead, and it's his boyfriend trying to just get rid of his shit. And he has all these things, and they're like, well, whatever that book is that the author is trying to create has just gone viral. It's like Game of Thrones status, where they made a movie about it or a TV show, and now it's like everyone wants collectibles and memorabilia about her dad. And who better than the guy who wrote the biography and just has an entire house memorabilia and electronics or recordings and stuff like that.
Right.
So we're getting told 2-3 stories all at once throughout it. It sounds so silly and so works perfectly. Like, I'm never like opening it up and going, wait, what is this coming from? I don't know, it flows so seamlessly, and it's Tom King doing what he loves to do and doing it well.
See, and I'm so sad that Wonder Woman, because I feel like Wonder Woman should be like that, and it's just not. Like there are aspects of that book that are awesome, and then everything else is just like it's an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10, but it's missing 2 points because of what, like you're saying, what he does so well here. He's trying to mimic in Wonder Woman. It's just not working, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but yeah.
I agree.
All right, next up from Distiller, we have Spectrograph. Did we read it?
No, we don't.
We don't. Well, this
Shop
was...
didn't have it. Couldn't find it online. I don't have it.
Damn, son. This is... who was this? Was this John's? One of John's pick of the week, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm sorry. We did that. When we did issue 1, it was when we were we
Off.
had to miss 2. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Which, by the way, I think 4th of July weekend, so July 3rd, I only have like 4 books, and they're all DC, and I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know. Well,
All I have on, well, Space Ghost 3, Absolute
Wow.
Power, Batman, and Birds of Prey. That week.
We may do like a pre-record on that because there's only like literally there's no Marvel books we're reading, even though there are some that are out. We're just not reading them, and so I'm thinking we may take a break on that.
Well,
But we'll see.
that's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, 2 weeks. But I'm just giving you a heads up. Just like
All right.
it's a holiday weekend. Might want to go shoot some fireworks. I don't know. I'm just saying. America. All right. The One Hand, issue number 5.
All right. I definitely want chat's input on this.
Okay. Well, this was, I believe, somebody said, also one of John's patois.
Okay, so I'm going to preface this by saying I could be dumb. I could be a dum-dum.
Oh, I love when I say that because I feel dumb.
It took me a long, like most of this issue, I felt like someone was took the first 4 issues, put them into an AI, and said, "Create me a 5th issue." Like it just felt nonsensical at times. It felt like really, really like the prose was just very dense and like wax philosophic without saying anything. Like I read sentences multiple times, and after I was done, I was like, "No, that doesn't mean anything. Those are just words circling each other." And I'm sitting here thinking the whole time, okay, maybe it's because I'm such a fan of the genre, but
well, John says the One Hand ending gave me chills. I was hoping it would be something high concept.
Okay, so I'm trying. Okay, I don't know why, or no, I do know why. But when I first read this first issue, it screamed Blade Runner to me.
Right.
It screamed Blade Runner to me, and I loved that because I love Blade Runner. It's a great movie.
Right.
Now, I probably know Blade Runner a little bit more than the common person, even someone who's like, I watched it 4 or 5 times, because I had a class where an English class where our final term paper was, and I don't know if you'll get this or not, but in that film, Harrison Ford he hunts what in this book they're called cogs, but they're basically androids.
Androids, right?
You know, it's very hard to tell if they're robots or not, or if you know, they're not androids because they are technically fully robots, but they have consciousness, and that's the whole argument, right? Is like, are they human or are they not? And the movie never answers: is Harrison Ford's character a cog or not? But there's a lot of evidence for it in both ways. In our final term paper was to write whether this character was a cog or not, like whether he was a human or not.
Right.
And so I had to do like a whole.
You had to make an argument.
Yeah. So like I'm pretty intimately familiar with this stuff. So the entire time that I'm reading this book, Blade Runner's in my head. And so I had it right from the get-go. It's pretty much exactly what Blade Runner is, or Matrix. It's our main character, our detective, finally finds the line, the string, the cotton string. He keeps pulling it and pulling it. He's chasing it, and he's finally finds the killer, and he's chasing him, and he finds those like weird tunnels that can go through the city that are like almost like portals to nowhere. And then he ends up in the airport, and there's all these planes, just planes after planes after planes after planes, just sitting there, idling, doing nothing. And he runs into one, and every single seat is just filled with a person with all the nodes in them and stuff, like, and they're being fed and taken care of and groomed and even fucking tattooed and eye drops in the eyes taken care of by cogs. And humans are just they're not living their lives. They're just robots essentially.
They're brain. They're just tubes.
And
tubes of meat.
They get found out. Now the interpretation of it all is left pretty little bit loose, which I think is good. Like with these kind of stories, you don't want to make any sort of hard, firm, definitive things, because I think it loses like part of the mystery that was the fun of the story to begin with. But I found it to be unoriginal. And with the difficult for me to decipher those, I felt disappointed.
Okay.
However, you do say this with a big however. I still think the series as a whole has been quite a success.
So, how do you think the other? Because did the other book end already, or is there still an issue?
we still have an issue.
So,
Unless I'm wrong.
I get my question is, do they feel as connected and interweaving as you hoped for?
Completely.
Okay.
Completely. I say that as a total success. I think Dan Waters and Rob have done a really good job of doing that. We do still have that issue of Six Fingers, and I'm very curious. I'll just go ahead and say now we haven't read it. We don't like. I imagine what it might be is because he's found all this out too. He's trying to get he's trying to get the detective to essentially follow him down the rabbit hole, and I think he's probably going to find a way to screw it all up, whether he pulls the electric plug and all the humans get unplugged and zapped back and either die or get woken up. He kills the Matrix and everyone realizes they were in a simulation, or something, because we don't know who the detective is talking to, but he is talking to the people who have done this. He basically says, well, a long time ago, humans reached a singularity, and we basically created robots that could do every last little thing for us, and all we had to do was just whatever the fuck. And then one day, humans en masse just started committing suicide because purpose to live, and they couldn't handle it. So those people who couldn't handle it, we put them in these airplanes and hooked them up to these machines. We gave them and now they're happy. Now they live their lives. And of course, the detective's like, yeah, that's not how I see it. Quite. So none of my experiences are real. And they give the very what is a real experience and what is the difference? If it's perceived as real, then isn't it real? And all these types of pretty quintessential sci-fi things, which I love. I love that stuff. I still, I still would highly recommend this series. Obviously, still one more issue, but the ending wasn't what I wanted. This issue is not what I was hoping for. But I don't want someone to only see me talk about this issue and go, "Oh, fuck that series." No, I definitely would still say this series is very much worth the read.
Okay.
You can have one missed issue when 3 of your others are my picks of the week.
Right.
It's still really good issue. Really good.
Interesting. Patty says that's a winner, a new reader. What do we got? Girlfriend has 3 to 4, 10, and 17-year-old. Just meeting the 10-year-old.
Oh,
good news
nice.
though, she enjoys free comic book day comics and wants to take them home. There you go. Interesting. Story didn't jive that it being futuristic until the end. It's had shades of Blade Runner, The Matrix, Dark City.
I will say that's one thing. One thing that infuriates takes place in the or something. This seems like 50 years in the future. That's insane time gap. Now it makes sense.
Okay.
And that probably should have been assigned to me.
At the beginning here.
But I didn't catch it.
All right. Moving on. When the Blood Has Dried.
Loved this book. But it's the same problem with every issue. We move forward this much. Just this much.
Yeah.
The art's really nice. I love the D&D aspect. We still get more such a rich world. Every time I open this book, I'm like, boom, I'm right there again. But we just didn't have a ton happen. Basically, the old guild member that's strolling through and is trying to ruin anything for our character, they're trying to take this guy that took her in and healed her and helped her died but it turns out he didn't own the land. And now the guild is trying to convince the town, to allow them to take over the inn because it's their land and they can do whatever they want with it. And she's acts like she's going to fight about it. And so he's like, all right, challenge you to a duel. And it's the guild members and you must do it. You can't say no. And so she's like, okay. And it's like an archery competition, which, that was their whole thing. She missed the shot and then he shot her in the gut. That's how the book started. So like that's very much in the background. And she like beats him every step of the way until he's like, all right, you foiled everything, but we got one fight. Like it's just as he goes to, which is kind of weird. And the last thing is he's like, can you shoot a non-timed target? Because like they're shooting birds. Like at one point he shoots the target and it's a dead bullseye, and she shoots an arrow and it slices his arrow. So like clearly like she wins that. Like he shoots a bird, she shoots 3 mid-air and pins them to a tree. And then he like somehow says, we're gonna shoot a fish jumping out of it. And that's what's going to determine it. And they both shoot at the same time, and we see the fish hit whose arrow. So yeah, snail's pace plot, but for some reason that's such a little concern to me. It's not causing me to not read this book at all. I still enjoy this. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Like, it was the first book I read in my whole pile. I was like, when I saw this, I was like, yep, I want this one first. So
All right.
even though it's not telling us a ton, it's still really fun.
Still
and
good.
It could be just because there's such a pull for this sword and sorcery fantasy kind of stuff in comics right now, or at least in my pulls. I don't know where it's at, but yeah, it fills that niche for me.
Right on. Pay says, yo, just noticed the stash, 10 out of 10. Thank you, dude. Appreciate. All right, so before we get to DC, Joe gives us a halftime question, and that is creative meeting. Wells' time on ASM is near done. The new writer will be announced soon. So who do you think will be the new writer, and will be, and what will the story? Wow, and what story do you want to see the historic 1000 issue of ASM be? I really don't want to wish anyone the responsibility to write ASM. It just feels like it's a cursed title, where it probably will start off fantastic, obviously, because it's new and we're just like a new concept and new idea. And then it either gets muddied by either an event, or it gets too convoluted, or it gets too gimmicky. Like it's just, I think ASM, it's a heavy burden to bear, with great power comes great responsibility. But like, and I think it's different than like with Batman, right? Like I would reading DC this past week. There's just so much Batman that like it really doesn't matter what you do in the book, because he's in so many different directions. The narrative you're trying to understand, like it's too much, With Spider-Man, it's like the book wants to do that, but it can't, because there's only one. You know what I mean? Like obviously they're like a Spider-Gwen or this or that, but like there's not one, outside of Ultimate Spider-Man, which again, that's something that's going on in a completely different universe. You have ASM, and when ASM has to come out twice in a month, you have to have an artist that is quick. You have to have a writer that is, pumping stuff out. So when reading ASM, it doesn't feel like you're getting your full worth of comic. It's a sliver of this and that. Like I remember that in Nick Spencer's run, where you were getting like slivers of the story because it was coming out every 2 weeks. And then on top of that, they were coming out with 0.0 issues as well. So like by the end of the month, you felt like you had a full comic, right? Again, stopped reading Wells' run very like long time ago. Like
eight issues in.
Yeah, it was like right before Gang War. I jumped out because I was just like, I'm not interested, and I don't want to do it. And on top of that, I just think the argument that we make about art in these books is so prevalent in ASM. Like, they're desperate to get it out 2 times a month, so they want to find an artist that can keep up with that mandate, right? Which doesn't make any sense, because we've got artists that can't stay on a book more than 2 issues, right? So like why should that even be a consideration for ASM? I'm I'm not really answering your question, but this thought came to mind. So DC right now with Action Comics is basically running in new.
Are you gonna steal my answer?
Oh, sorry. Well, go ahead then. Like, you know what I'm going to say.
No. Go ahead. It's your.
Well, what I was going to say is do it like what's, even though we're not reading it, do what they're doing with Action Comics. Stories, new writers, new artists, either every month or every other issue. And you're just, Spider-Man is just this floating character that's, you know, it can be canon what happens in the book, but it doesn't have to be succinct. It doesn't have to be continuous. It doesn't have to be this long story that's going to bridge 2 to 3 years of a run. It's just Spider-Man. And this month, Kyle Starks is in charge. And so he's got this arc for 2 issues. Next month, and if you want to put in a 0.5 in between these issues to have a complete story and basically have 3 issues of it, great, do it. Or even 2.5s so that you have, it's basically a 4-issue arc. That's how I would do it. I think that's what Spider-Man deserves. If you're not going to have a consistent story that doesn't feel rushed and have art that isn't trash. And I'm sorry, I know that's an ass thing to say. Like, art is subjective, but like John Romita Jr. on this run was a non-starter for me. Like, it just took me out. And I know like he's not on it anymore and they brought in somebody else, but like it doesn't matter. Damage is done. I'm not reading it. And I want to read Spider-Man. You know, like Spider-Man is a staple of Marvel. Why wouldn't I read it? And it's because, like someone said, Brian said, ASM feels rushed. 100%. Since we've started this hobby, reading ASM, there have been glimmers of hope. But all in all, it's rushed because of the schedule of it coming out every other week. Spider-Man, if they want the story to be consistent and good and people picking it up and enjoying it, because people are obviously picking it up, that's why they're coming out with it every 2 weeks. Change the scheduling. Come out once a month. Come out once a month and do what DC's doing and just flood the market with more Spider-Man books, just like they are with Batman. And then you're fine. You don't have to worry about the main title coming out every 2 weeks. Just once a month. That's my... and I do like the idea of Kyle Starks being the writer for Spider-Man. I think that'd be dope.
I do love that idea as well. And that's what I was going to say. Or I don't know if I think it. It seems to make sense. I also could see I could see one of these newer guys, like one of these guys that have been around for had a huge, like they haven't had a oomph run, maybe like a Steve Orlando, Steve Fox, Daisy Camp, like something like that. I could see one of those guys getting it.
It's a Steve
However,
Fox.
I will float you 2 people that
Alyssa Wong.
oh shoot. 2 people that I can I finish before you steal everything?
Sorry. I
Yes,
just know you,
2
dude. I'm
people
in your
that
brain.
I think I would like.
Yeah.
2 people that I think would be great, and 1 person that I think would be, for me, like, perfection. Alyssa Wong, I think would be very good. I think they have shown us on Deadpool that the humor's there. I think their hands were tied in Captain Marvel, and I'm not going to count it against them. I think Ryan North would be pretty good as well. Ryan North is the one who is currently writing Fantastic Four, who I need to have another reawakening with. It's clearly I am wrong. It is doing numbers. It is everyone whose opinions I agree with it is saying I clearly just need to go back.
Okay.
But he also did that massive run on Unbeatable Squirrel, and I feel like his style of writing, not even about whether I like it or not, his style of writing and his ability to do that style of humor it is Spider-Man. So there's that. My long shot, there's no way it would happen. That's not Donny Cates, of course. My long shot that won't happen, but I would just love it because I want to see his version, is Al Ewing. And we know Al has the output power for it. He's done 3 ongoings at once, no issue. And he currently only has like 1.5. He's got 4, and he's sharing Venom duties. He does have Venom War happening, duties, which is probably would keep him busy. But I would imagine also that's been like the time frames work out for him, then Venom
Mhm.
War's already obviously been written, is close to finished. Whereas the Spider-Man, and I don't know, there's all that. I think that the most likely thing to happen is that it's not going to be an anthology as much as it makes sense. I think what it's probably going to be is a guy that's been a person that has been tested a little bit, maybe with some miniseries that have been really good, not with a long ongoing, because I think they realize whoever they feed to the beast is going to get annihilated, and they would be more willing to throw a good writer like Steve Fox under the bus at risk than someone like, and I know Jed McKay's too busy, but someone like a Jed McKay. There's no way they're wasting a Donnie comeback on Spider-Man and then he gets ripped to shreds. I know that you guys would love Chip Z on there.
He's never doing
Chip,
it.
Chip has already said that he's never, ever writing ASM. Not going to happen.
Here's one, and
I don't know.
I even after you just said what you said, but could you imagine a Rainbow Rowell Spider-Man?
I would love it.
It wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. But that would be amazing. Yeah, Donny Cates, Ducks for cover. That would be. If you want to blow, like the thing is, Spider-Man doesn't need it, right? Spider-Man doesn't need the clout. He doesn't need the character itself. The title itself doesn't need this massive creative duo to come in and be like, oh my god, I'm gonna go pick up Spider-Man. It just doesn't. Like the numbers are there. They don't, like you're saying. I think you're right. They're gonna throw a new person or more established Marvel house style writer under the bus and say, all right, this is yours, and then go away. Yeah, I like get a different team to experiment each issue. I think that's a great idea, Patty. Seems like half of ASM issues have events tie-ins, makes it hard to have a story arc of any sort of length. 100%. Empire, what up? He goes, Nate, Jim, why do you think they are canceling She-Hulk? As much as I know you love the contemporary slice of life and romance, Jim, I can see why the lead to its downfall for readers wanting action.
Because incel brutes are the one buying comics.
No, well, I don't know if that's that. I think what it is, what She-Hulk, Rainbow Rowell She-Hulk is ahead of its time in the sense of Rainbow is, in my opinion, and I could be wrong. I want nothing more than to get Rainbow on the show and talk to her and just really like I'm absolutely. I think this run is probably one of the best She-Hulk runs. Dare I say all time? Like I just think it's good. I just think it makes She-Hulk. Wait, you know what? Empire, we'll talk about this when we get to She-Hulk. There you go. I don't want to just
you don't want to blow your She-Hulk load on Spider-Man.
No, okay, don't say that. Anyway, but we'll get to it. I have a lot to talk about it, but the short answer is I think that the title itself, what Rambo established and did and is doing and is about to finish, is ahead of where comics are at, and it's what I feel the creatives at Marvel and probably at DC, because she's going to probably do the same thing with Lois Lane, is what manga is. She-Hulk's run, or Rainbow's run of She-Hulk, feels so like a manga. It just has every kind of aspect of the character development and life, whether that's slice of life, romance, action, all of it. It just has everything. And it reads like a manga. Where when you finish an issue, you're like, God damn it, I got to go get the next volume. But we're just getting chapters instead of a full Tokobon. So, like, that to me is, and the reason why it's getting canceled is because that's not traditional comics. That's just not how comics read. For the most part, I'm sure there are runs that are like that and that have done well, but they're not in Marvel or DC. They're more independents. And I love. Well, we'll get to it. That's my short answer. That's why I think it's getting canceled. I think also probably Rainbow wants to do other stuff. I mean, I'm not saying she wants to stop writing She-Hulk, but you know, she's like Nate says, she's a full-time author. She's getting ready to do something for DC. She's actually, I think she's working on a manga if I'm not mistaken. So like, she's got a lot on her plate. And it was evident, like, in her responses, like, wait, we'll get there. I'm going, and we still got DC to go. She-Hulk is coming up. We'll talk about it. But I appreciate the question, and we will talk about it more when we get to the book. Which button do I press? Is it this one? No. Is it this one?
We are professionals.
There it is. All right, let's get over to DC. Well, because I hit all the buttons. Anyway, let's get to DC. What do you think of this issue? And then I'll give you my assessment. I'll just tell you now, I wasn't happy with it.
There's some things I liked. Most of it I didn't like. To me, it felt. I felt like Chip had a gun to his head by the editorial. They were like, okay, and now you fucked his hand up, put him back to normal. Bruce doesn't have fucking robot hands, put it back. How do I do that? It's like, make a clone. We just figure it out, fucking figure it out. And there's a clone, and he's gonna cut his own arm off because he's just so loyal to Batman, because he is Batman. And then you better fucking kill him, because we're not having a clone of Batman running around. That's pretty much how I feel about it.
That's how this whole issue felt. So it's a massive retcon, and it felt like a huge eye roll by Chip Zdarsky. It could be wrong. He may have been like, this is great. But it feels like editorial was like, hey, by the way, we need Batman to be Batman again. And to me, this just screams, hey, everybody, get ready for a reset. Because all of our characters are coming back. We're getting back to the basics. We're going to have Justice League. And like you said, Batman can't have a robotic arm. Batman can't not have a mansion. Batman can't not have a butler. And literally when we started the show, I had this thought. So we're going into absolute power, right? I was hoping for a Jim DC rant. I'm sorry. So we're about to go into absolute power, right? And the whole gist of it is that everyone loses their powers, and Amanda Waller and Brainiac have now made cyborgs with their powers. Yay! Right? And we're going to fight them, and everyone rally the troops. We're normal now. Get your guns out. Like, whatever. Like, however that's going to go. I guarantee you. So we established in this issue that Bruce has got his hand back because they grew it in a fucking test tube and put it back on. He says, fuck off with Wayne Manor, and then he decides to make the Pennyworth Manor and build it in the sub, or affordable housing, and we're going to be in the community. Whatever. Fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
I like those parts.
Well, sure. We're going to be a family. Everyone's going to live in the house. Is there a cave? Just wait and find out. Like, okay. So campy.
No, I
sure. I'm calling it now. At the end of Absolute Power, Alfred's coming back, but he will not be Alfred. There will be an AI robot version of Alfred that will be the butler at the manor. I'm calling it now.
Will it be his consciousness, or will it be...
Sure, it'll be some bullshit where, oh, I found this hard drive that Alfred left for us to put it, boop, oh, and there's all of his memory. Like, that's what it's going to be. And then, remember death metal? We're bringing it back, and we got Alfred's soul. And so, and, oh, he's back. Like, I'm telling you, like, the reason why I'm saying that is because of how forced of a retcon this issue was. It did not feel at all like what we had just read for the past couple issues that Chip Zdarsky had been establishing. So I agree with you, Nate. It's conspiracy as fuck, but I do believe that DC editorial was like, now, change it now. Give us back Bruce. And I think every other book that we're reading right now that is DC is going to do the same thing. When Absolute Power drops and it ends, it will be this mini reset and some attempt to a refocus of what DC Publishing is doing with their comics. Will it be good? Who fucking knows? Will I read it? Probably. But I will tell you, it'll be incredibly reluctant that I do. And I honestly believe that both DC and Marvel are in, like, we're in for a huge reshuffling of writers and concepts. So like ASM, for instance, I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't somebody established, like this new writer that's taking over, just so we can see what happens. I think a lot of books right now are in limbo, and we're trying to establish, like, okay, are we going to be more like the movies? And so if someone goes sees a movie and they can go to the comic book store and pick up a book, maybe. And if there's anyone positioned right now to succeed in that kind of plan, no matter if the reader, if readers want that or not, is Marvel. I think DC, as always, has been late to the game, even though they've been around longer. And so now they're like, okay, we just got to wait and see what Jim Gunn cooks. And then whatever he cooks, we're just going to do in the comics. But for right now, we're just playing around with Absolute Power. This to me was an incredible, like, and I know this was Jaden's pick of the week, and I'm sorry, I'm shitting all over it. I apologize.
Damn, it was.
Yeah, he was like, he was either Spider-Man or this, and I'm just like,
bro, how can you just be going on there?
I know, I'm such a dick.
Addy, or Jaden, I am so sorry.
But I don't know, like, I just don't. I don't know. I'll say this. If we didn't have the show, I wouldn't be reading any more DC. And it's because I love you guys so much. That's why, like, that's why I read it, you know.
Here's my question for you, and is there a current DC book that's doing so well that you couldn't see canceled by the end of this year?
That I couldn't see canceled, or a book that I don't want to see canceled?
There's no way they're no. That you think there's no way they're canceling that. It's just too good. Not even in my opinion. It's doing too good. I think it's doing so well, or the optics are that it's doing so well. Is there a book that you just like, boom, this is selling, there's no way they're canceling? And I'm looking through the books. I'm just looking through books that are coming out and looking at main titles. You know, like you've got Williamson's Superman. You've got Ron V's Detective. That's ending. You got Cy Spurrier's Flash. You have Williamson's Green Arrow. I don't see any books here. Nightwing is fixing to end. Is about to end. Birds of Prey. Like, I love Birds of Prey, but like if I saw the cancellation on Twitter, I still.
No, I don't think
not
he's
that
saying
it deserves it. No. I'm just asking you. I'm saying
no. I know. I'm saying Joe's just said Batman will never be canceled. DC will be canceled before Batman. I don't think he's saying canceled.
No.
Like
I don't
reset or something like that.
Yeah, that's what obviously Batman.
Joe,
I'm saying. I think the evidence is mounting that you've been right this whole time, and that Absolute Power is probably going to be not a. We're done. I think DC's done with total reboots after a New 52, but I think we could be seeing a pretty dynamic shift where all these books are getting canceled and we're just going to redo it again.
Well, again, I talked to Ron at the shop last weekend, not this past weekend, but last weekend, and there's rumors within the industry that the publishing side of DC Comics is about to shift hands again, with Discovery not knowing what the fuck they're doing and them pushing it off to someone else. And he was saying that is it Jim Lee? Yeah, Jim Lee is basically a figurehead. He really doesn't have any creative decisions with what's going on there. And so yeah, I'm right there with you. Joe did say World's Finest. I agree with that, even though like this last arc was kind of like, it was good, but it wasn't like as hot as the first couple arcs. Like, it was an okay arc. I was still intrigued, but it wasn't, I wasn't like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like,
I mean, I know you don't feel that way, but I would say that is probably the one that I think, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I think
some legs, and
yeah, if there's
be one that doesn't get canceled, but Absolute Power is Wade and Mora.
Right.
Their book could get saved because it's going to be the book that's used to segue us into this new era.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
I mean, I do like World's Finest. To me is I always have a silly goose time, and it reminds me of why we got into comics. So I'd probably say that. But other than that, even Green Lantern, which I'm absolutely in love with, I could see them saying like, we're just gonna change. We're just gonna change direct. Let's get back to regular Green Lantern, and that's what this book. Like, if you're gonna do that with Batman, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. We're going to retcon everything that anyone has done in the past 5 to 6 years. I mean, shit. He lost all of his money in Tinian's run. He's got it back. Lost his house in Tinian's run. Got it back. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... Lost his hand in Zdarsky's run. Got it back. You know, everyone's going to live under the house. Yay. Like, so Bruce is going to be more of a father. Okay. Like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't... There's no direction. And I guess I shouldn't be that frustrated, right? Because I guess this is a feeble attempt of getting some direction, right? I guess, but it just feels cheap. It doesn't feel like what have we been doing for the, like, what have we been reading? Does it matter anymore? Not really, you know? And that seems to be a constant complaint with me in DC. They build up these events or they build up these runs, and then it's like, put it under the rug. We're starting over. And like, if you're going to start over strong. Don't just, we got a new writer and we're going to do something different. I don't know. Batman feels like it's running on reputational only. I would agree with that. Nothing is exciting going on. It needs a fresh paint and big status quo change to reignite a spark. Batman will... Okay, got that one. I'm 100% with you on DC Jim. I am still on Superman, but feels like I'm being abused. Yeah, I jumped off that, even though I know we're getting our creative team back, but for how long? And I just don't trust it. Personally, I like Batman 149, but I guess I assumed the hand thing was going to be reconnected at some point. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
I just held out hope that we could hold on 6 months. But you're right. I mean, I should have known as a comic it was coming. I just was hoping it was coming
so
in like
fast.
a couple years.
Yeah, like, you know, you basically have a second utility belt with that robot arm, with robot hand. You know, you could shoot laughing gas or, you know, whatever. Hold on, I recently dropped Batman for my pull list. Hate doing it, but not as much as I was hating reading it. Dang, I get that, dude. Joe, I know y'all are sort of new at comics and you all are going through your first real retcons and soft reboots. How y'all think you can overcome it moving forward?
I'm going to continue to do what I do, and that's put this towards it.
I don't... It doesn't bother me when there's a... Like, it truly, it does not bother me. What's up, Critical Entertainment?
John. Exactly.
Yeah, Doom Patrol Peacemaker, 100%. It doesn't really bother me. I want it to be done in a smart and tactful, creative way. And it just seems like 9 times out of 10, DC's soft relaunches or reboots are just sloppy and lazy. They don't feel genuine. They just feel like, well, that idea sucks. Let's go to the next one, right? And to me, that's a slap in the face to anyone that was writing the run or whatever. Like that's I guess, as someone who likes to dissect the hobby, I feel like you need to give some respect to the past writers, even if it sucked. Like, acknowledge it and then move on, not just be like, nah. And like, what's sad about what happened here is they made Chip do the retcon of his own shit. It wasn't even a new writer. It was Chip going like, okay, I had fun. Now I got to fix everything. And that sucks. So anyway, World's Finest. I liked it. You know, like I said before, I wasn't like just blown away by this concept of this mad tinkerer who's making little imp versions of DC heroes and villains. But I thought it was cool. Like it's still, I think it's smart and fun. And again, it's just like a silly goose time with concepts and characters that we should have a better grasp on. So like, let's have some fucking fun with it. And that's what this, like, literally this whole run, this whole arc has been that. You know, to make Jimmy Olsen basically the savior, quote unquote. And then what happened to Batman at the end, I'm like, god damn. Like, visually, I think Mora just fucking killed it. Like, that was brutal as fuck. but yeah, I mean, I had a good time with it. I had fun. Like like this is not the only way this book leaves my pool is if DC decides to pull it, to cancel it. Like that is the only way currently in the state of this book where it'll go away, is if DC says it's going away. Excuse me.
Yeah,
sorry.
I agree. I think I think sometimes we can be a little bit, or at least I could be a little being too intentional. You know, we're doing superheroes, right? And I understand that sometimes it's not that serious, but like, you know, you want something to say. But with this one, I look forward to having a book that I can just have fun, awesome art, and have a fun story. There's not like anything groundbreaking here. We're not moral lessons here or anything like that. It's still fun.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Green Lantern War Journal. How'd it go?
It didn't.
Oh no, didn't read it.
Sorry.
Or didn't get to it.
I didn't get it.
Boo. All right,
Oh.
next time.
Sorry.
All right, Nightwing.
Wang.
Yeah, it was fine. Like I have to. It was fine. It was good. I mean, it did the thing. You know what I mean? But it didn't. Predictable? Do we say predictable, or do I say predictable?
Yeah. I think predictable is the right word. I mean, not
and
like...
I think to me that means that I think we can read between the lines or read the tea leaves and come to the conclusion that the reason why we never got a like decisive get right back to Heartless storyline is because I think, and this is a massive generalization, but to me I think it's it feels like Tom Taylor like knew his ending and he was like, God damn it, this isn't, like, the hype is different compared to where we're gonna end. Like that's the feeling I got with reading this.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, could be totally wrong, but like the setup of Heartless was awesome. Currently the state of this ending of Fallen Grayson, the the arc, the ending of the whole book, the whole series, and also the ending of the Heartless arc, like it feels underwhelming. Like, oh, I framed Grayson to be heartless. Like, I don't know. Like, now them offing the henchmen medics, like that was a no shit moment. I was like, didn't see that one coming. Like, just didn't see that coming. But other than that, like framing Grayson to be heartless, you know, like even at the end, like they pull the mask off. What? It's Dick Grayson. Oh, I was like, oh yeah, no duh. Like saw that from a mile away. How's he gonna get out of it? I don't know. Read next week. Like I don't know. Like this like outside of World's Finest, DC just felt incredibly campy this week. Like it just didn't. I don't know. Like I don't know. I just wasn't impressed. I'm sorry. I am being such a shitty, like, down in the dumps on DC.
How could you do this?
Because that's not good.
No, this was good. This was fun. It wasn't, again, this was, I view this the exact World's Finest.
Okay.
We're not doing anything groundbreaking. No one is surprised that Dick Grayson is getting framed. But it looks good, and it's not written awful. It's fun. It's just easy and predictable.
Easy.
And so, like, do I want to keep spending my money on that? No, not really. But it's almost done, so we'll just fucking figure it out after that.
Just, swipe it under the rug. Look.
The art is amazing. The art
is amazing.
amazing.
The dialogue between the actual characters is good. It's fine. I will tell you right now, I did not read a lick of the blue boxes of the old man talking. I didn't do it.
I think that, at least based on the past few issues,
interesting. Yeah, Jaden.
Tom King has found a good rhythm with the blue boxes. And what I mean that he's found a good rhythm is that the stuff in the blue boxes is interesting to me, at least to me. Totally unnecessary. Or I wouldn't say totally unnecessary, but mainly unnecessary for the plot. It gets the very essence of what he's trying to do, but it also at times gives off let me tell you what we're doing instead of show you. Now
I hate that, dude.
I know. And so part of the things that he's trying to tell us are things that really aren't conceptualized in
Sure.
in comic books, like in visual media. Like it's very prose. It's very, the way it's written is, you just have to write it. Like you can't draw it and you can't make a movie of it. It's like that style. And so like I get it. It's the wordplay of it all. And like the first 5 or 6 issues of the, until we went into the birthday issue, Batman birthday issue, it was bad. It was really bad. And it was dense.
Yeah.
And I feel like he had that art, that one issue to either chill out, to kind of calm down a little bit, or by then editorial was like, it's not looking good, you need to fix it. Like you're being too Tom King. And so I feel like ever since then it's tightened up and it's not as bad. Now, I don't blame anyone for being exhausted at this point and seeing the boxes and just jumping. And I think you're still going to get the vast majority of the book. But I will say that I enjoyed a little bit of the nuance of that. However, it was still a little too. It was still too much.
Just too much. Like
better.
Sure.
It was too much.
Like I read the issue perfectly fine and understood what happened with just looking at the pictures and reading the dialogue between the characters. I was like, haha, they're having fun with the invisible jet and, one of them being afraid of heights. Oh, there's this like kind of romantic chemistry between Wonder Woman and Cheetah. Oh, and they kind of care for each other and are kind of friends. And like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, they didn't, they came to pick her up with everything going down. It just, that was it. So before you read DC books, you need to take a shot. Oh, maybe. But it was Batman's birthday. It's not like his parents will get him any. Damn! Holden says, I thought of you when I saw the blue boxes. I'm glad that you could think of me while you read your comic. Joe, sadly, I fell off a Nightwing and wanted to jump back into the last arc to finally see Heartless get what he deserves, but all I hear is underwhelming reviews. Tom Taylor running is all fluff. It kind of feels that way. The only thing I didn't like with the art was with Cheetah's ears. Why do they keep drawing Cheetah's ears pointy? Actually, Cheetah's ears are round. All right. I don't read enough Wonder Woman to know that detail, but I'm sure if you're right on that.
He's saying actual cheetahs.
Actual cheetahs, yeah, I gotcha.
Really?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I get that. Y'all.
Also, John, I did not read any of those. I did not even realize Destro came out this week. So I'm gonna chalk that up to someone else's problem for not knowing that.
Is that mine? You talking about me?
No, oh no, I just mean like in general.
Oh, I was like
it just,
damn, dude.
For whatever reason, I feel like I've said like I'm in on the Synergon universe, blah, 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 but I think the past couple miniseries have kind of like the anything that's G.I. Joe related so far has been a total dud to me. So I just don't see a reason to pick up another G.I. Joe.
Even Duke?
Yeah, Duke overall was a dud for me. It wasn't nearly as bad of a whatever the hell the other one was. But so far the G.I. Joe stuff means Scarlet issue number 1 was
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe I'm gonna read the second one, and I trust. I like Kelly Thompson, but so far the G.I. Joe stuff is not interesting.
I see. Yeah, Thor.
Also, Uncanny Valley, you probably should read that. I haven't read it because I'm not
a what?
Saturday morning cartoon kid.
Okay.
So like the references fall flat for me. I got
I see.
2 of them. That's why I didn't continue.
What'd you think, Thor?
Exhausting. It was tiring. It was exhausting. It was
that God's tie-in though, like I mean, now we're getting some interconnectivity with Al Ewing and Hickman and like this concept of like cosmic.
I wouldn't know. I didn't read Gods, and I know a second of it.
You're not missing anything. Okay, you're not.
I as someone who loves, again, I mean, we just talked about this a ton. As someone who loves the prose aspect of this and like really enjoys when a confident, good writer writes and just throws it out there. I love that. But sometimes you miss, and like this is like the kooky kid that like swings like this and he goes in a circle, falls down. Like it was just like, he didn't just miss the ball; it was a goof. Like, and the issue wasn't horrible. I just like there's so many goddamn words, and it was not necessary. I just
Also, what did we do? Like, oh, Oblivion took over one of the brothers, and then he was trying to get out. And like, okay, and he didn't.
Well, we've been doing these arcs that are just 1 or 2 issues,
right? But the end,
and I like that. But
the end is coming, Thor. Like, yeah, we know. We've been saying
we've
that.
been
for
talking about that forever.
11 issues. Yeah, I don't know. And then the artwork again. I know it's the same artist as last issue, but
does not work. Does not work.
No, it's like a. Dude, we're so negative. Can we just move forward? I feel icky.
Well,
God damn it! Look, it's over, bro. It's over, and we're trying to dangle a carrot in front of our readers and saying, "But Tony and Emma still be together?" I don't know. Maybe, probably not. And then, okay. So, did you read this at all?
No, of course not.
Jesus. So, War Machine, Rhodey gets out of prison, and he, again, this issue is too late. This issue is too late because we're still dealing with Orcus, right? It's over. That's done. So this is still dealing with that. And Rhodey basically like comes in with the cavalry and essentially goes to a bar where like all the bad guys are and misfits are, and he's like, "Hey, we need you to come help fight Orcus. So here are all these weapons that we confiscated through the other issues, and we're gonna give them to you, and you're gonna help us fight. Let's go." So you've got like Rhino with a jetpack on and a big ass blaster. You've got Stilts Man with a shotgun. Like all these like weapons that Tony had been like confiscating. Rhodey gave them to all the bad guys, and they're like, "Let's go fight Orcus." Like, okay, yay, and they go fight. And then Tony shows up, and Rose is like, "I was in prison, and you didn't get me out. The fuck?" And Tony's like, "Sorry." He's like, "I'm gonna punch you now." And Tony's like, "Not in the face. I'm gonna punch you in the face." Punches him in the face. And then, like, this is how the dialogue was in the book. And then Tony's like, "So what? We just gave all the bad guys guns?" He's like, Rhodey goes, "I'm gonna start my own thing. We're gonna do Avengers, but with all these guys on the other side of the country." So we're doing a new Avengers, basically Thunderbolts on the West Coast.
So West Coast Avengers.
West Coast Avengers, but they're bad guys. So West Coast Thunderbolts. Like that's
they're bad guys?
But they're bad guys. So like Rhino, Sandman.
Bad guys.
Yes. That's even foreshadows like, and like Tony, like it's like foreshadowing. Tony's like, "That's what we did. We just didn't know we'd be that successful, and this is what we did." And I'm like, what are we fucking doing? Like, I read a review. I told you this in New Comic Book Day. I read somebody doing a review about how people were upset that Gary Jerry's run of Invincible Iron Man was ending, and people were upset because they loved this run so much, and they thought that the McKay one was just trash. And it, like, where?
Hello.
What? Totally wrong. Yeah, the bar with no name. Like this issue made like no fucking sense to me. Like none whatsoever. Like it did not. And then the best part was they end it with Tony like having an inner dialogue about Emma and being like, "If you stop reading here, my life ends happily ever after and we ride off into the sunset. But if you want to find out what happens, keep reading." I'm like, huh. like what? So like it's very evident. Like it just seems like, yeah, Emma and Tony are not going to be together anymore. And like to me, that's probably the best thing that happened in this entire issue, And then we never even got the relationship that we thought we were going to get with them. So I guess I'm glad it's ending. I don't know, man. This issue sucked. I'm sorry. Like I can't even be like, I'm giving Gary J. No, it sucked. This was bad. Just bad. More specifically with the whole don't even read it. Just don't worry about it.
Go on to something you enjoy.
Thor was the art was a bit off. Loki turned into Rosie O'Donnell for a panel. It was a chore to get through. Joe, guys, I got to go, so let me give you my thoughts on ASM 6. Great issue. I think they are giving us what we want with happy family vibes, but I think MJ's reaction after learning and seeing Peter. Seeing
Peter's face all jacked up.
Oh yeah. All right, Joe. Well, we love you. Thank you for being here. Iron Man.
Hold on. The second thing he said was.
Oh, well, I was reading.
He said his face was all. Just something is telling me that this isn't real. Day of Stark's bomb. That this is in his head, and you're a jerk for even thinking that.
Wait, hold on. You cut out. So I'm gonna read that. All face jacked up and should have more. You cut out emotions and less.
I know.
Something is telling me this isn't real. Peter's family died a day in Stark's bomb. Dude, fuck off. That would be insane, though.
I would never even look at a Hickman comic again. I would put in the entire Ultimate line. I would never read another Hickman book. If that's what they did, no coming back from that.
John says Iron Man is limping towards the end. He's not limping. He's like
Someone's dragging the dead corpse.
Dragging the junk armor with it. Yeah. Jaden, I'm okay with that. They don't belong together. All right. Yeah. I mean, sure. I don't know. All right. Let's get to what we really want to talk about here. That's a sensational She-Hulk. Okay.
This is fine.
That's Jim's. Pick the way.
How dare you?
No, it's great. It's great.
This is great, and I would just want to celebrate it. I don't want to get pissed about it. I don't want to get mad that it's ending because it is, and there's nothing really we can do about it. Like we can tweet Marvel all we want, but bring it back. Like it's not happening. I thought it was great. Like this comic again has everything that we're looking for. I think I'm looking for in a superhero book, which is slice of life, romance, action, drama, suspense, and I genuinely care for all the characters in the book, even the Inhumans that are staying at her apartment. Like, again, Rainbow Rowell, Jed McKay, or not Jed McKay, no, Jed McKay, right? Avengers?
Yes,
Blood Hunt? Yeah. They are doing something that a lot of Marvel writers either don't care to do or don't want to do or are not capable of doing, which is making you care for characters that just haven't been around for a while or are such DC F-list characters that they make you genuinely feel something for them. And I think what she's doing here with Jack of Hearts is so incredible. And when you read it and you're like, when they're in the scene where they're in bed and they're just, having these discussions together about their potential future, and you've got Jack basically saying I love you. And all I could think of was he's leaving. And then also seeing, with Jen kind of suddenly being given the keys to the castle, which she's never really had as a character, with the whole her joining the Avengers or being proposed to ask, to join the Avengers. I just thought it was great. She's got this impossible decision in front of her. Well, I say impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I think Jen's going to do what she wants to do. Will she be allowed to do it? That's another question. But everything's in front of her. There's a fork in the road and everything's in front of her and she can decide where she wants to go. The only people that won't allow her to do that is Marvel. She's going to be in Avengers Assemble, so she's going to be in some form of the Avengers. Will Jack be there? Who knows?
Is she going to be in Avengers Assemble?
She is.
How do we know that?
She's on the cover. She's in the solicitations. Yeah, look it up. Look it up, bro. Yeah, I think she's going to say no to to Captain Marvel, I think for some odd reason, who knows what it'll be, whether either it's he's not actually real, or he gets captured, or he ends up dying for whatever brought him back. Jack of Hearts is gonna go, and She-Hulk's gonna go do the Avengers thing to get her mind off of it.
I don't know. Maybe Steve Orlando would be cool enough to keep that going at least a little bit. Obviously, it's there. Maybe like every 3 or 4 issues we see Jack hanging around.
I mean, if you want me to really go on a rant, this book shouldn't be ending.
I mean, no. I mean, you said you wanted to stay positive. I will just go ahead and say straight up.
Say what? You're breaking up.
You said you wanted to keep it civil for this book.
Right. Yeah.
But if I'm not keeping it civil, I would say that the person or people whose decision it is to cut this book are some of the biggest cowards that have ever worked in the comic book industry, and are absolute morons and idiots for canceling a book that maybe doesn't equal its massive sales on things like Sim or X-Men, and think that that's how you judge a book. Because there's how else do you judge it? I mean, it's clearly, if you look at the ratings on any website, you look at the reviews from respected online reviewers, you look at the Twitter chatter, like there's nowhere where you can turn to not see constant, consistent, massive praise for this. It's so good that most incels and Nazis are keeping away from it. They don't even complain. Like, it's just like, there isn't logic here, and it's very stupid and very irritating.
I agree with you. I'm sad. I'm sad to see it to go. You know, maybe we get an announcement, but like, I think Rainbow Rowell did such an amazing job of just like, when she released her notes on Twitter for Jack and for She-Hulk, and I think one of the notes for She-Hulk was like, just let Jen be Jen, like let her be the character. And to me, I thought that was great. I don't know. This book just does everything correct. And I liken it to manga. I think it reads that way. It invests you that way. Whereas other Western style comics have elements of that, but for the most part, they're pretty in line with what Western comics are. And like, to me, this run is just not that. It's just 100% its own thing, with multiple pillars of investment. And if you're gonna find something to like in this book, whether you like it or not, you know, like, it's just, there's gonna be something in it that's gonna hook you, because it does have action. Does it have it every issue? No. It does have drama. It does have relationships and character building. Like, it just had everything, and I liked it. I liked Jen, you know, seeing 2 futures in front of her, and I liked that the issue ended with her not making a decision, just like doing what a normal human would do in this kind of situation. Going like, I'm out. I'm going to sleep. Peace. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that was like the most human thing to do, and I loved it. And I loved the heartbreak between Jack and him just saying like, I love you, and like, even the implication, and maybe it's just the reader, right? Or is it Rainbow making the reader feel that way, which is like, holy shit, he's gonna leave. How he does it, we don't know. We got to read and find out. But it just felt like there was this unspoken, like, he's gone, like there will be no happy ending. And it was kind of foreshadowed, right? Like when she broke the 4th wall, I don't know if it was in Sensational or if it was in just She-Hulk, but remember that issue where she actually broke the 4th wall and talked to the reader and was basically saying like, I never get my happy ending. I never get to do what I want. You know what I mean? Like, it's always the same bullshit. And it's almost like we're there again. Like, subconsciously we're back at this moment, but now it's playing out in the pages rather than her talking to the reader or talking to Rainbow herself, the writer, and saying, let me have my moment. And now the inevitable is coming, which is, sorry, that's not your story arc. I could be completely wrong. I could be totally off.
Right. We could be like, she could be like, hey, book.
Yeah.
We're over here. I'm calling people cowards.
Yeah,
So
we don't know. We may never know. And that's why I would really love to have her on the show and just like really pick her brain on her writing this series, like how much fun she had with it, and where she would have gone if she could have continued. Because it's been a fantastic run, and I will be sad that this is not in my poll anymore. Like it was good. It was so much fun, and I don't think it ever had an oh shit moment. It always had a god damn it, why aren't there more pages in this book moments? Because I wanted more. I just wanted more. Like, this is how a superhero comic should be written if it's just a single character. Just a single character. I'm not saying like all superhero comics should be written this way, but this was a masterclass on how most of them should be. This was fantastic. So, yep, it's my pick of the week. It's my pick of the year, like 2023 into 2024. She-Hulk, Rainbow Rowell, my book.
January 22 is when this book or Rainbow's run. Man, 2.5 years, and it's just bye.
Bye. Poof, gone. Let's see here. What a cover, so dope. Why does her suit actually always go so hard, even though it's so simple? Maybe it's the purple because Hulk's pants slap also. Hold on, I'm so invested in this book. Jaden, I bought this cover and the Adam Hughes cover, which is amazing. Is that the one where she's in court? Because that one's dope. I'm buying a few Jack of hardback issues now because I now am interested in the character. Also, I'm loving the Krakus Rancic odd couple vibes. Yeah, the Inhumans. She-Hulk is excellent, and how many books like it are out there right now? Definitely shitty deal for it to go. 100%. And I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think we'll ever get the actual story of why it's ending. It could either be Rambo just was done, or Marvel was like, look, we're going in a different direction. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But like, bittersweet when we get the last issue for sure. So, my pick of the week.
Nice.
Ultimate Spider-Man. I loved it. I thought it was great. I really hope what John said, or was it John or Joe that said the whole this being a dream and Peter's family's actually dead.
Ugh.
I hope that's not the case, but it would not surprise me if that happened. But I like that we're getting a little bit, like, not that there wasn't movement, but we've had 2 issues now where it's been kind of this build to this release of action, right? And I'm still digging like Peter being this he just still doesn't have a full grasp of like what it means to be Spider-Man, like he's never broken into someone's place, he's never fought somebody like this. I love it. And even though it's such a simple idea and like an obvious idea, like Hickman does a really good job of conveying it. And I thought this was, I thought he did phenomenal in here. And to have Chichetto back on the artwork, like, dude, not to say that that the other issues were bad, but like he just brings a sense and gravity to the book that the other artists didn't, and that's not their fault. I don't know. I liked it. I liked the issue a lot.
Yeah, I will say that there were I don't know, like there are some moments that really genuine, and like there were some moments that like felt too easy. Like I appreciated that. Like I don't know. The family wasn't just like, whoa, like
upset about it.
It felt like MJ just took it too easily.
Yeah.
But of course, like when May like lets it slip up that she already knew, and like she starts getting teary eyed because she with her.
Yeah, she fucked up.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
It's okay. I promise, it's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like Spider-Man. I think he's a cool character. Like, the uniqueness of this version is really what keeps me here. The family, him being older and just learning stuff. This is the kind of stuff that keeps me there. If we're gonna start losing those things, I know Joe just throwing out super hypothetical, but like those things will make this book quickly crumble. They seem like the crutch. They're not even the crutch because I don't think it's a bad thing. The foundation for my enjoyment of this book, and so the more we get of it, like we did here, love it, love it, love it. Shadow's art also was just on fire. Like, it was good.
Fire.
Please don't take the family away. Just can't handle it.
Well, I'm telling you, like, it may not be the entire family, but someone's going.
Kill the son.
Holy fuck.
I don't want any of them. I just got through.
No, I get you.
He has been the least dynamic so far.
Yet.
And so, we have to do the super. Like, May has to become super. I mean, Spider Girl. Like, it has to happen.
No, you're saying that, and that's why it's gonna be her that's gonna go. It's gonna be her. She is. Telling you now. I'm not saying it's popular. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but it's gonna be the one character that you have such, ties to, string connectivity strings to, that he's just like, Hickman's just gonna be like, cut. Like, it's coming. You can feel it. Like, you were expecting it in this issue. You were expecting the family to freak out, or for MJ to just lose her shit and be upset, and she didn't. And so I'm telling you, like, there's going to be a moment where it's something that we love and long for and don't want to go. It's gonna happen. Nate's just like, the boy can go.
I mean, sorry.
No, I get you.
I don't want. I do not want. But the least dynamic character so far of the family.
Right. It was good though. I liked it. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's well, that's the next video. That's gonna do it for this episode of Two Fat Guys Pull Us Live, 178. Let us know in the comments, either on live chat or if you're watching this as a past episode, how did you like the new show format in the sense of Independence, DC, Marvel, or do you want us to go back to Independence, Marvel, DC, or do you want us to go back to Marvel, DC, Independence? Let us know down in the comments what you like the most and how you would like us to jive with this show. We'll catch you guys Tuesday for another new comic book day video, which we've got some good books, I believe, next week. Don't we have a Blood Hunt?
There's so many books next week.
Do we? I don't.
Department of Truth is coming back.
Oh my gosh!
2-year hiatus.
Are you kidding me? I cannot wait for that. That's gonna be. I mean, that'll be interesting because, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But like, how will? We'll talk about it on New Comic Book Day. Anyway, yeah, we do have a Blood Hunt. All right. Yeah. No. There's some good stuff here. Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. Anyways, guys, we will see you guys Tuesday for a New Comic Book Day, and then back here again live. We're talking about all these books and more, and it'll be a great time. Hopefully Nate's camera will work. We'll see. I just hear him sighing. I'm sure he's doing a massive eye roll.
I'm still trying to get it to work.
Anyways, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. But as always, be kind to one another and read more comics. Later. Sean's got over 20 books. Holy fuck.
Oh my god.
Sorry, dude. Or not sorry. Have fun. Have fun.
Right.